Hi, my name is Nick Hayes with Wellntel. I'm in charge of technology. I'm joined by Joe Fillingham, who's responsible for data science. We're going to spend 10 or 15 minutes in a bit of a recorded webinar. That means there won't be an opportunity for questions, but please reach out via our webpage if you have any. We want to give you an introduction to using Wellntel's Analytics Dashboard. Now, in order to do that, let me back up for a second and tell you what Wellntel does. To begin with, we provide water information collection networks. We gather data about pumping and flow in gallons, and groundwater and surface water, and rain and recharge. We put it all together into a data management tool and along with analytics for businesses and communities and growers. Our analytics dashboard is our interface for communicating these data from the field to owners and experts of networks. Users of analytics dashboard can experience simple and easily understood status reports, or if they choose, they can go deep and create hypotheses and explore the information to find new answers to questions. What you're about to see in real time are data from Wellntel networks that are coming in as we speak. The information is quality assured, and the tools that you are viewing are part of a living library. That is charts and graphs and a control interface that continually improves with your feedback. If you have feedback following this meeting, again, please visit our website and contact us via contact form. In the meantime, sit back and enjoy as Joe walks you through Analytics Dashboard.
Great, thanks, Nick. I'm going to switch over to Analytics Dashboard. And when you log into Analytics Dashboard, you land on the Wells page. This tool is one that is really focused on the Wellntel network or the water network. The idea is to give you a summary view of information both about the water level and the status of systems across this network. Now, this network that we happen to be looking at is one that's in southeastern Wisconsin. So I'm going to zoom out on the map tool here just to give you some perspective. It's in the northwest side of town, very close to Wellntel headquarters, which is on the east side of Milwaukee here. This network is an interesting one. It was one that was started by a local hydrogeology professor who lives in this village and recruited local homeowners to become part of this network and installed Wellntel systems on domestic use wells, and then has been using those wells to monitor groundwater levels for some time. So this particular tool that you're looking at is one, again, focused on the network. So you can click from one well to another across the network and view status information about that system, including the water level and the change in water level over time, some seasonality, and some year-to-year changes and features associated with that. If you scroll down, you can see the status of the communication for that particular system, whether that system has communicated in real time with the cloud or has recorded sometime before. You can see the number of readings that have been collected there, as well as the sensor location and some other operational information. There's a number of other tools that you'll notice on this tab. Simplest of which is just an About button that gives you some basic information about all the features and all the tools that you see here. A few others are give you the ability to download the data that's being used to create a particular chart or table. You can also download plots and visuals in a high resolution format. There's a few other tools related to the map. You can download the map itself or the well locations, as well as uploading GIS and Google Earth overlays that may help you visualize and see this network in the right way. From here, I'm going to jump over to the hydrographs tool. The hydrographs tool is really about getting at the raw data or the water information that's being collected at each of these sites and visualizing all of it or as much of it as you need. So it starts as a blank page, and that's because we want you to build the hydrograph that's meaningful to you. So you can select a particular time zone, a specific date range, as well as a number of other tools that allow you to build that visual in the way that you need to build it. I'm going to scroll down and just select one well within this network so that we can see a hydrograph of these data and explore that just briefly. So here's the hydrograph for one well within this network. If I scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page, you'll see that there's a tool that allows us to filter some of the events that are there. So I can filter out pumping influence readings and look only at the close to static readings that are being measured at that particular well, or I can include them if they're useful and important to me. I can also select multiple wells to view for this particular network. So I can add a second well to this if I want to compare two wells to each other. And then once I do this, I can do some other sorts of visualization. I can remove the period average and stack the two wells on top of each other. I can even look at these data in different ways, like just as points or as lines and points, things like this. Now, stacking two wells or removing the period average from two data sets and comparing them to each other leads me to our very next tool, which is the compare tool. So if I click over to that, what we can do is actually select two wells that are, we may have created a hypothesis about, two wells that together may represent a particular pattern or trend that we'd like to analyze. And if we have a hypothesis that there is a pattern or trend between these two wells, we can test that using statistics on this particular tool. So here what I've done is I've selected the Binder well and the Zimmer well, and these two will then be plotted on the X and Y axes together. And that allows us then to add a linear regression model to these data. And in doing so, we can dig into the statistics that are involved with that and really analyze the hypothesis that we brought forward, that there's a relationship between these two wells. So for example, here there's a relatively weak correlation between these two wells, but it's one that's likely statistically significant. So these two wells may be generally following the same pattern in terms of weekly average data over the period of April 1st, 2019 through April 2020. So an interesting comparison that may be useful at a network scale. From here, I'm going to take one step to the left and look at our mapping tool. This tool allows for spatial visualization of network information. It starts with just a simple map of all the well locations, but then you're able to select specific time ranges and specific map types that'll help you dig into the visual nature or the spatial aspects of the data that's being collected at the network scale. So if I select contour map, we can look at contour maps of water elevation, of depth to water, or even the change in water level over time. Another way to look at this change in water level over time is to actually use a bubble map. The bubble map is a really interesting visual that allows you to select a starting point and then scroll using this date bar to actually see how water level is changing across the network. Are there hot spots where water level is recovering really quickly or dropping really quickly? Are there patterns across the network that might be critical to understanding what is going on in a particular region versus another? And given that, often when you're looking at network data spatially, you do want to group wells or locations within that network in a meaningful way. And that may be because of the patterns that you're seeing, or it may be to analyze specific patterns in different ways. So I'm going to switch over to a contour map view and just highlight how you can switch between looking at all the well locations or by well locations within specific groups. So included within the Analytics Dashboard platform is a tool for creating and filtering by groups. So there are a number of groups for this particular network, and I can filter out a handful and narrow down to a specific range or set of groups that may be important for analyzing or visualizing data. So for example, these all may be wells that are within the same aquifer, completed within the same aquifer. They may be wells that are all domestic use versus municipal or monitoring wells, and comparing them to each other or visualizing them spatially may be more meaningful than looking at the entire network. So I'm going to take one step over again to the Groups tab and just kind of point to the different features that are included to actually do this grouping activity. So you can add a group. You can have as many groups as you'd like. You can remove groups if you need to. And then what you can do is, scrolling down to the middle of the page here, you'll see this large matrix tool. The way this works is that each location or well is a row, and then each group is across as a column. And to add a location or well to a group, you simply check the box. You can add as many groups to a well as you want, or as many wells to a group as needed. And once all of the boxes are checked in the way that is most meaningful for the network, you just click Save Edits and then move forward. Those groups are translated and included in all of the tabs and tools that are within Analytics Dashboard and can be used in different ways to visualize these data or analyze these data. A couple other really quick features I want to highlight. You can use the Operations tab to view the status of the network, the operational status of the network, and look at different metrics and status updates. If there are any alerts due to telemetry or calibration, those will appear here and allow you to take a focused look at what's going on at the network and efficiently address those issues when they come up. You can also bring in USGS groundwater level information if that's useful to the region that your network is in. You can also load weather information like precipitation data. Here we're querying the NOAA weather stations that are near or within a certain range of the network. You can see there are quite a few for this particular network. But once you've done that, then you can then load that precipitation data and compare it directly to the groundwater level data that's being collected and is visualized here. With that, I'm going to pause after that quick tour and hand it back to Nick.
Great. Thanks, Joe. Nice job. So I want to talk for a minute about who actually has access to Wellntel's Analytics Dashboard. So as you're looking at the screen, you're looking at a network of, say, 25 or so locations of remote sensors that are in the field gathering data, in this case about groundwater, but also could be about surface water or flow in gallons or other forms. Essentially, the tool is only useful with a network, and so subscriptions come along with networks. And the way we price it and do it is that one seat for Analytics Dashboard, that is one login associated with a person, an email address and a password, the necessary credentials for secure access to the information, is issued per every 10 Wellntel systems that are out in the field remotely gathering data. So a 20-seat network will have 20 location network will have 3, and so on and so on. If a smaller network of only 10 wells requires 3 seats, well, 1 seat comes along with that 10 wells, and 2 more are available for a nominal price of $500 per seat per year. And those seats can be issued to anybody essentially who has access to the information in that network. Now, on the other side, importantly, Analytics Dashboard subscribers only have access to the information for the networks with which they are affiliated. So the way that might work is, in this case, the Village of Richfield has a seat for its village manager, and it also has a seat for its hydrogeologist consultant who has access to the information as well, and then uses this tool for the creation of reports that are then dispensed within the community on a regular basis. So that's how that would happen. I'm going to hand the keys back to Joe for 1 more minute to give you a sneak peek at an even more sophisticated extension of Analytics Dashboard, and that is the ability to take these data and get them into other places through API.
Thanks, Nick. So one important component or an additional component that is part of the Wellntel Analytics Dashboard platform is the opportunity to work with an API to exchange data between different databases or between different locations or different computers. So we've set up a separate webinar that you can sign up for, and we regularly update and add webinar dates and times to learn a bit more about this. We'll go through what an API is how it works and how it can be used within the Wellntel platform, how it might be useful to you, and answer your questions about it. So it's a data exchange tool that allows you to set up automatic transfer of information from the Wellntel cloud to your cloud or data management system if need be, or to simply work with from a offline standpoint. So we look forward to seeing you in those webinars. If you don't see a date that works for you on the website when you log in or when you access it, please let us know, and we'd be happy to schedule a time to speak with you one-on-one. So with that, I'm gonna pause again and make sure our contact page is up so that you can see where you can reach us. If you have any questions, please feel free to send us a message, give us a call. We'd be happy to talk to you anytime.
Great. Thanks, Joe. Nice job. Appreciate your time, everybody. Take care.
Thanks, Nick. Have a good one, everyone.
Bye.